Hi there, welcome back. It's Penny at Salt and Wool Studio. Today I'm going to be hooking Ms. Warren's garden, and this is tutorial number 9. We are going to hook a cheerful garden scene. The goal of this pattern is to teach you how to create a lively garden using simple shapes and bold colors. One of the things I love about Ms. Warren's garden is I intentionally created all of these blooms very simple. This allows us to play with color, texture, and movement rather than worrying about the tiny details in this rug. So follow along with me and let's get started. The first thing we are going to do is outline our flower heads. I'm going to use a 2-ply black Briggs & Little to outline mine. You can also use a dark gray color, any type of dark gray or black, and this one is a 2-ply Briggs & Little, by the way. I don't want to use a Tuffy wool or a 3-ply, and I'm going to hook very loosely. Now, as you can see, I've started outlining, and I'm just right here on this flower here. And when I pull up my loop, I'm just going to haul one here, and I'm going to skip a couple holes like so. Do you see what I'm doing there? There we go. So I'm going to continue on and do all of these blooms. That is the first thing to do in this rug, because we want these blooms to stand out. So now my outlining is all done. That's the easy part. Now the fun begins. So this is like doing a patchwork quilt. If you've ever heard tell of that, it's a mix mash of everything in my stash. So I'm just going to show you now. I'm just pulling out stuff out of a few bins, and like I have a lot of like scraps of everything in there. And so my stems of my tulips and my leaves, I want lots of greens and browns maybe. But so I've got wool cloth strip pieces, lots of velour colors like this. I just found some shiny ribbon. I may use that even. I found some green wool, dark green, light green, some Rasta Malabringo, beautiful lettuce, this one is called. I have some shiny velour, it's nice and green. I found some Briggs & Little wool, forest green. I did find some brown velour, 2 browns, and I was looking for some jersey, and I don't have a scrap of green in jersey, but I did find some cloth, some wool strip cloth noodles. And so I'm going to kind of play with this now today, and we're going to start next with doing the stems of the flowers, the blooms. So now the stems are only going to be the flowers in the very front of your pattern. And just dropped a wool. So the stems are only going to be the front of the pattern. So and we want this color of the stems to be the darkest in your green shades. So whatever your darkest color is, I'm probably going to use this velour, because that's nice. It's really dark. See that? It's like a dark green. Deeper. It's deeper color than my wool is. So this will be nice for the leaves with this. And maybe some of that lettuce green, and this one to do some more leaves, right? So you see my drift with this wool here. So see, these 3 shades are going to make a pretty nice light leaf. And this would be beautiful for a darker color leaf, right? So we're going to mix and match it all up here as we're going. And yeah, this rug is about having fun and enjoying what you're doing and learning to hook abstract. And when you're hooking abstract, you're hooking, it's a very expressive form of hooking, and it's my most favorite form of hooking, actually. I love expressive hooking, where I'm just throwing it on there and thinking, oh yeah, like that looks really good next to that, and then I'll go on to the next one, and oh yeah, that looks really good, and keep going. And it's just fun because you're not sure how it's going to turn out until you're all done. But it's also some of your best hooking comes from expressive hooking. So let's get started with that. So I have my stems put in. I did do some cross hatching on a couple of them here, just to make it look more natural. And I always find my pattern is a guide. I always tweak something in it as I'm going. So you can follow your pattern to a T, or you can be like me, and I always seem to not hook exactly like it is on the rug. So anyway, that's just me. So now that we have our stems done, the next thing I want to dive into is a bloom. And the first bloom I'm going to do is going to be done in red. Now I want to show you the reds that I'm using and the different textures, because this rug is going to be all about using different textures. When you have these big oversized blooms, using the different textures is what makes it very interesting and very creative. And so one thing to know is if you're using strips, use wider strips in the foreground and narrow strips in the background. But in my case, I'm going to be doing each bloom with different textures, so that's okay too. There's different styles of hooking this. You can hook it all with wool if you want it, just different shades of a color red. But so you just follow how you feel it looks good. Let me show you what I mean. It's easier said than done. So I have some Rasta Malabringo in a red. I'm going to use this. I have a bright red wool. That's a Briggs & Little, and a dark red. See those two colors? Here's some more Rasta Malabringo again. I have some jersey. It's nice and stretchy. 4-way stretch. No, sorry, 2-way stretch. This one is. It stretches this way. So when it stretches one way and not the other way, you cut this way. See that? So your noodle goes into a noodle when you pull on it. So I have lots of that beautiful red fabric. I have a lot of red velour actually. I have a house coat that I'm not sure where it even came from. Something, a wool swap or something one time. It was at a swap. And so I managed to get this house coat, and it's red, and it's the perfect red for doing poppies. So I'm definitely going to use this in there. Now, the other thing is, when you're using this kind of stuff, it's really messy, like really messy. And I'm sure as a rug hooker, if you've hooked with anything of a fabric, cutting it is state. So I usually have an apron on. I don't today. I will keep it away from myself, but just to note that it is a mess, right? It leaves a mess everywhere. On you and on your scissors and your clothes. It's like static cling. And so I'm just going to fold up my fabric here, and I'm going to cut a few strips. Oops. There we go. And I'm going to hook some of this in. So now I'll show you what I mean by messy. Just look at the state I just made over my linen. Look at all this red fuzz everywhere. So this is one of the reasons why I use a toothbrush, because I hate having a mess. And a toothbrush picks up all of that. See that? It's great. Okay, so let's continue. So I just put in my first little bit of velour, and just to show you. So I followed the line of the tulip down here, and then I just did a highlighting up the side. And my next color I'm going to use on this is the Malabringo, and I'll show you what I do there. So now I just put in my first tulip, and before I show you, a couple things to know. First thing, when you're hooking your tulips, you're going to hook directionally in the grain of what you would think a tulip would be. So, so I just so happen to have some plastic tulips, and I want to show you what I mean by directional hooking. So this is, pretend these are real life tulips. They're not, but anyway. But you see the grain of the tulip goes upward. So we're going to follow the grain of our tulips in our pattern is always going to be upward. Upward. And the same thing with the leaves in the front of our pattern are all upward. So this is where your directional hooking comes in, obviously. And so you're going to directionally hook your tulips all upward in this pattern. Not the roses or poppies in the back, just the tulips. The tulips have to go hooked upward. That's the style type of flower it is, and you want it to make it look like a tulip, you have to hook like a tulip. So let me show you my first one. Okay, so this tulip, I'm just going to come in close on it here now. So I did some velour around the edge and up through the middle, and I did my light red in the vein up through the middle. The throat of my tulip, I did the jersey because it was the lightest color I had. Then I put in some Malabringo on the right and the deep red on the left. So do you see that? So that's my first tulip. So creating all this texture in my flowers is what's going to really make this rug very interesting. And the tulips and the flowers are going to be the showstopper. And doing this technique in all the blooms is what's going to be the eye catcher when you're looking at this rug. So when you're hooking now, you got to keep in mind your color triangles, where you're going to put your reds, your pinks, your yellows, your lavender, whatever color you're going to hook your flowers. I am just deciding now, and I think I'm going to, so I'm going to have, my second row is going to be poppies, but they're going to be different colored poppies. So I'm going to have a red tulip on the left and the right, and I'm going to put a colored poppy in the top, or two. So the other thing is to either hook, when you're hooking in your colors, to make sure you're hooking in 3 or 5 odd numbers. You don't want your blooms in even numbers, so hook in odd. And so doing the color triangles like that in 3 places in the flower blooms, it's going to make my eye travel across my rug. And don't repeat clusters though. Like, don't make this a cluster of red and don't make that a cluster of red and over here the same. Just do it in single flowers and start that way. That's what I suggest anyways. And yeah, you don't want a cluster of each color. I'm going to use my brightest colors in the front part of my rug. And as I go back, I'm going to try and hook with duller colors. Like, it'll be more dull in the background. But I don't like hooking dull, so we'll see. But that's what I intend to do, but I don't always do what I intend on. So let's follow along and see. So my next bloom is going to be probably, let's go here, right in the middle actually. And I'm just going to fix my wool here. And I've doubled up my wool this time. So when I pull now, I'm going to pull 2 loops at a time. Do you see that? I'm pulling up 2 at a time now. And that nice bright red. And I'm still directionally hooking. There we go. Like so. I like that. I like that. Okay, and I'm also going to trim on the right hand side this time. So each poppy that you hook, or each flower or rose or tulip, they're all different shapes. So you treat them all differently when you hook them. You have to hook in the direction of the flower. So in this case, it's straight up this way. So I hooked the direction, followed the shape of the bloom, like so. And I'm going to put some Malabringo in here again, because this is a nice light color. And I love Malabringo. Like, I love how much fun this is to use in a rug. It's just the texture of it. It's just so pretty. Yeah. So look how pretty that looks. And it's quite tough to pull up because it is so thick. But you just bear with it. When I put my hook down, I just open up the hole a little with the hook first, and that helps, I find. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. Now, let's go with some of this velour this time. So I'm going to put the velour in the top. Oops. Right here. And I'm going to hook the shape of it on the left side now. So this tulip is right in the very front. So I'm going to try and keep this one lighter. I'm not going to use my dark red wool in this tulip. Instead, I'm going to go back for this real nice bright fabric. So I'm going to get a couple strips of this cut now. And let's do that. There we go. I try not to cut more than I need because this stuff, like once it's cut, it's so messy, and I don't like to do that. I don't like to have noodles. I'd sooner have a piece of fabric and not noodles laying around. Okay. Look how nice and bright that is. It's beautiful. It's actually working out really lovely looking. Okay. Here we go. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, that's my second tulip. Beautiful, isn't it? Now I'm going to hook one more flower, and then we're going to move on to another color. So next I'm going to do this bloom here because it's still in the front of my rug. And this one has like a throat up top in the pattern. So I'm going to put this bright red in the throat of my bloom first. Okay, so this little tulip here is on the side of my rug. It's in the front, but it's on the side and the front. So I'm going to use some of that dark red to frame the throat of my tulip here first this time. So every flower, I'm hooking every single one, I'm hooking it in a different style. And that's what gives this rug so much interesting and makes it so interesting and gives it so much character. Like, you don't want them all the same. Don't hook every flower bloom identical. That won't make it interesting. What's going to make these beautiful blooms in this garden shine are all the different ways that I'm hooking them. Like this one. And I could even use more jersey again. Like, I don't have to keep using all of these different things. I could just hook the rest of it with this beautiful bright red. I think I will use this red, actually. Let's do that. And I'm going to double hook it. So double hooking again, I'm just doubling up my yarn like so. And I'm going to hook up in this space. So this one, it's going this way. So we're hooking this way. But up in this little section right here, I'm going to pretend this is where the light is going to hit it. So I'm going to want my red up here in this section. Like this. Like this. Whoops. Goof that one up. Let's do that again. There we go. See that? Like I just framed it into that there. And then I'm going to run the rest right down the side of that dark color to the bottom here. There, like so. Then a tiny bit of red in there again. This is the fabric I'm using. I'm just going to tuck that there. Now, on this side, I'm going to use the deep red velour, actually, I think. Let's do that. So, this is directionally hooking again to the bottom. Like so. I forgot how messy velour is to hook. Look how pretty it is already. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay. And then this last little bit here, I think I am going to use a little of this Malabringo again. Actually, I'm going to do something different with this. So let's just untwist it. And I'm going to split it. This time, like so. There we go. That's nicer. So this time I'm not directionally hooking. I am just going to hook a little patch in the tulip. Excuse me. So this is giving it the shape, like this whole side of the petal on the tulip is one petal, but it makes it look so pretty. Hang on now. See that? Like now that looks like there's a petal here. Can you see that in the video? I'm not sure if you can. Let me see. Oh, yes. Okay, good. So now you can see the top of the bloom, and then this side is one petal, and then I have the velour up the side for the dark shaded side. So that's my 3 red flowers. Now I'm going to change to another color. I'm not going to keep hooking with the red until I get some other colors in there, and then I can decide whether I need more red or we should continue on with other colors. So let me show you what colors I'm going to use next. Okay, so I just got through my stash again and I dug out my yellows this time. So I found 4 yellow wool shades, these 4 here. Now, any yellows, like if you have yellow in your stash, any colors of yellow, just pull them out. That's all I'm doing. I'm just hauling out different, whatever I have in yellow, just pull it out. Oh, and I have this goldy color one. And then I found this beautiful, what's this called? This is hand dyed in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And it is a fleece artist floof, mine gold, and it's 100% merino. And this, isn't that beautiful? Like, I am so using this in my flowers. And I found some of this cotton, or not cotton, sorry, wool cloth fabric. I went through my stash and I found this. This was from some fabric that was donated. Look how beautiful that yellow is. Like, that is so, that's gorgeous. Like, this is a gorgeous color. Like this with the 2 butters. Look how beautiful. That's a bloom right there. Like, this is one color shading of my bloom that I can see already. And then the other color shading of my bloom that I really like is this gold against this gold. Maybe with this, the wool cloth strips. And I could even put in this mustardy yellow. And this one, like, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Like, I just love adding all these different colors and textures. So, sadly, I don't have any velour. I love using velour. I don't have any yellow velour, but I did have this yellow satiny material. And this is beautiful too. So we're going to use that for my next bloom. So let's go. So now I just put in my first yellow flower. And I'm just going to show you now. So this side here, I treated with some gold color. And then I put up through the vein where the petal starts this bright yellow. And then I put in some wool. 2 colors of wool there. And then I put in some of that floof, that artist floof. Like so. So see how I directional hooked? Even though I'm using different fibers, I still directional hook everything. It doesn't matter, and nothing has to be perfect. This is abstract, so my loops are not perfect. Satiny, beautiful material that I love dearly is terrible to hook with. It's very hard to pull up through my linen, but saying that, I'm still going to use it because I love it. I love the color and I love the texture that it's putting in my rug. So even though it's really hard to hook with and it doesn't throw even loops, you can't even get anything even or fair. It doesn't matter because it's all about the texture in this rug. And this gives really good texture. And that's what I'm going for, is different textures and different fibers. And all together, using all of these is what's going to make these flowers beautiful. So you just got to go with it sometimes, I guess. And so whatever you have in your wool stash, like if you got old clothes, old jerseys, old anything, like jersey fabric, felt, you can use felt, you can use anything like to hook up for this. It's the color palette, it's the tones that you're after. So it does not matter that it's wool or not wool or whatever. It's whatever you're using. This isn't anything goes abstract rug. We're having fun here today. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put one more yellow flower down in the front for now. And then I'm going to change to another color. And then we're going to see. Okay, so here's my second yellow flower put in here now. And I put that next to red, and I'm just started trying to decide on my next color and my next flower, and we'll build from there. So now you can see 2 flowers side by side with different textures. Aren't they beautiful? So we're just going to stop there today. The next tutorial I will do some more flower work, and we'll work through that. I want to say a very, very big thank you to everyone who has supported me and messaged with good wishes, and people who have purchased my pattern, Mrs. Warren's Garden. This pattern will be available for purchase for the next couple weeks at least, and that we're looking forward to enjoying doing the tutorials with me. As long as I'm being supported, I will continue to do these tutorials and share with you my techniques and the way that I hook my rugs and my hooking style. And I hope you really enjoy it, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.